everyone. Welcome to Lockbeard Phenomena. Who we got here? Bunch of people. Squatching Cowboy, Tom Paul, Cajun, Michael Haywood, Mr. Lee 3PO. Something to squatch about. Sandra Pink Videos. How's everybody doing? So I titled this one Devil's Tower, a Tree, ? Ran across someone on nothing to be scared about. Somebody, they want badly to believe that there were these obscenely gigantic trees in the past. And they want so badly to believe it, they'll come up with any excuse to believe it. And they are claiming that the Devil's Tower is the stump of an ancient tree. This person went so far as to claim that some of the buttes, like Devil's Tower, have waterfalls coming off of them because of vascular bundles that remain functioning in this stump. I'm just amazed, just absolutely amazed that a person that has enough sense to walk around without getting hit by a car was claiming this. This is clearly a geological feature. It's rock. It's igneous rock. It's not even petrified wood at all. If this person were to talk to a geologist, they would know. I only minored in geology, but the Devil's Tower is the same kind of has the same columns like you see at the Giant's Causeway. Has the hexagonal fracture structure that creates columns. There is nothing about it that says it's petrified wood at all. And then for this guy to claim that the vascular bundles are still functioning, this is like saying that a dead person who's been petrified for thousands of years still has blood pumping in their veins. That's what this person's saying about this ancient tree. It just sounds to me like they found a buzzword, a botanical buzz phrase to use. Again, the wrong thing used to me. I took a lot of botany in college too. I have a huge interest in that subject, and this person cannot possibly understand the level of shock that I had at this statement. This was such utter ridiculous. He was saying that the vascular bundles are pumping water to the top of the buttes to create waterfalls. Just wow. Absolutely insane. And that's what this entire subject is polluted with, is people who have pre-existing ideas. They want to believe a certain thing, and they will look at any little idea that will seem to support what they want it to mean, but it doesn't mean that. That butte that may look like a tree stump to him, but it's not a tree stump. I'm sorry. It's like seeing an elephant in the clouds and saying it's an actual elephant. It's insane. So how are we supposed to find the truth in any of this stuff when we got all this nonsense going on, all this crazy? It's just amazing to me. This person should go to Devil's Tower and just look at it. find where the water. Well, I don't think there's a waterfall in Devil's Tower, but go to one of these buttes and prove it. And this person's like, well, you just don't get it. I just don't get it. This guy is saying things that ridiculously fly in the face of two subjects that I have studied my entire life. Ever since I was a kid, I was picking up rocks and fossils and crystals and collecting plants and growing plants and even as a child, I knew that what this guy was saying was utter ridiculousness. And he's proliferating it. See who else come in. Blue-eyed Northern, welcome. Let's see. You were there, huh? I mean, you saw how that formed was some magma came up, and there's a lot of these. Geologists have known how this kind of works for a long time. It's called a laccolith, and the magma comes up through a fracture and gets in between the layers of the rocks, and it just swells it up like a blister, and slowly cools in there, and then the overlaying rock erodes away, and then that rock was all sedimentary rock, and the laccolith that makes up Devil's Tower is igneous rock, and it doesn't want to erode near as easily as the sedimentary rock around it, and so you end up with this standing structure there, and it's really interesting. I mean, it just amazes me. This guy's probably never even been there, so he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I mean, I haven't been there, but damn. I'd really like to visit the Giant's Causeway too. It's amazing how nature does things like that. That those columns form in many places, have formed in many places around the world. It doesn't even have to be igneous rock; it can be other types. It's interesting how geology works. Mr. Lee 3PO, what about the root bundles found underneath? Root bundles found underneath where? Underneath underneath Devil's Tower in particular, or other buttes that look similar? If anybody found any roots underneath there, it's something that grew in later, most likely. I mean, well, it had to have grown in later. When that magma chamber formed, there, everything that might have been growing there died and was burnt up if there was roots in it, in that rock strata, but it was in the rock. So any roots have gotten in there has been long since that's cooled down and begun to erode away. Me too, Tom Paul Cajun. Me too. So many people out there just saying these ridiculous things. We're never going to get to the truth, sorting through. It's a needle in a haystack, trying to find a kernel of truth in all this nonsense. Hello, Brandy. Welcome. Papa C. Craig says we have two ancient volcano necks in the Columbia Gorge made out of basalt columns. Yeah, I mean, obvious igneous rock. Um, yeah, me too. It's kind of hot out here. Hey, Daisy Dukes, welcome. Yeah, this freaking genius was claiming that it's a tree stump. That there was these obscenely gigantic ancient trees and all those buttes that look like a tree stump. He's claiming they're actually a tree stump, and he said that the vascular bundles of the tree are still functional, pumping water up to the top of these buttes, allowing some of them to have waterfalls instead of, maybe some rain fell on it. He's trying his damnedest to make the story sound legit, that he wants to believe, that he wants to. He'll probably latch on to anything that'll support what he wants it to believe. It's the same kind of confirmation bias that we see throughout, all the Bigfoot community and through UFOs and ghosts. I mean, you got to have evidence, and they don't have any. Let me see here. Something to squatch about says, no, the Devil's Tower is a tree that came from a satirical Facebook page, and some folks latched onto it. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of this came, a lot of these weird ideas came from, like the flat earth thing. Yeah, I'm going to say it. The earth is not flat. And, it had to have been just, some satire or heck, I don't know, somebody, maybe it was purposely meant to disrupt society. I don't know how that started, but the same for this. And I mean, some people are buying it. They try to act like they know a thing or two about science, and the reality is they couldn't science their way out of a paper bag. Cave. Michael Haywood says, and that tree is cut off by a caveman chainsaw. Had to be. Obviously, it wouldn't be flat topped unless it was a chainsaw. It's not an axe. Tom Paul Cajun says, I know what I've seen, and no one is going to change my mind. Yeah, I don't think he was claiming Devil's Tower had a waterfall. He said specifically some buttes like Devil's Tower. I should clarify that. Yeah, he wasn't saying there was a waterfall there, but some other ones are big enough to have maintain a waterfall. Yeah, Papa C. Craig. I've run across a few people in the past who believe that, and I just run across one a couple days ago, and I just couldn't believe it. But yeah, there's a few people out there. They maybe they're just trolling and just dedicated trolls. I don't know, but the guy seemed to believe it. See who else we got here. Then would the world be on the flat part facing up? Oh, are you not familiar with the flat Earth people? Um, yeah, they think we're all like on a disc. The different ones have a little different ideas. Like some say it's like a shaped like a coin almost, and then there's an edge, and that there's the firmament is the dome over the top, and another ones say that 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 there isn't an edge; it actually keeps on going, and there's many more continents out there, and the government don't want us to know it's there, and that's uh, you know, you go down that rabbit hole, you better pack a lunch. Hey, hey, Mogion Monster, welcome, man. Hey, Paul and Allie, hello. It, well, I guess. I mean, it's they don't seem to understand what up is. Like I've heard a number of them say that the Nile can't flow north because water can't flow uphill. Because in their mind, looking at the our globe, north is uphill, and they don't seem to understand how it works. I mean, I could flip that globe over and being as a geography student as well. I mean, I spent um, they a lot of people refer to me as a professional student because I didn't want to leave college. I stayed there. Um, well, technically, I was there for 11 years, but I'm gonna call 7 years when I was actually taking courses because I was working for them too. And anyway, um, the globe, if you turn the globe upside down, South Pole facing up, that is equally accurate and legitimate way to depict the globe. It's just that we traditionally look at it with north up. So I guess I could flip the globe over and try to explain that to them, and maybe they'd be okay with the Nile flowing north. But yeah, I don't know. To them, I don't know what up is to them. I don't know if they know which way is up. Lots of people are staying in hotels for what? Squashing Cowboy. Daisy Duke says those people did not go to a good school. I'm not sure there's very many good schools left. I mean, when the government takes control of something, and I mean, you know, they tend to mess it up. It just seems like they mess everything up in one way or another. I mean, there's some things it seems like it wouldn't get done if they didn't do it, but it's certainly not going to be done in the best way, and they're going to waste lots of money in the process. So, um, yeah, and I don't know if private schools are the answer. Um, you know, if you could trust a person to direct their own education and study independently, um, but you just can't. Well, not everyone. Most people need guidance to because they're not going to study the parts that aren't fun. Like in college, the students, none of them like taking their general education requirements, and I'm kind of almost of the opinion that maybe they shouldn't even bother, because they go there, they do the bare minimum, and they immediately forget anything they learned in those classes. All they cared about was what their major was, and um, even then, I'm not sure they got much out of it in most cases. Let's see. Oh my God, Southern Hemisphere people are being discriminated against. I think so, Papa Secret. I think so. Australians should be pissed. Oh, they're not. Okay, yeah, the Squatch out. September in Tennessee. Hotels instead of campsites, huh? I guess some people want their comfort, I suppose. It's probably going to be hot. Well, September, I don't know. Tennessee might cool down enough, but welcome, Daily Dan, South Carolina. Keeping it keto. Daisy Dukes, if they think the world is flat, that's fucking crazy. I think so. I have to stay with me. I think it's when crazy ideas start to, because I don't know how many people are following this flat Earth thing, but it's clearly going to hold. It's going to have an effect of holding back humanity, intellectually speaking. It slow down our advancement. If people would just, if they don't understand, I don't know. All I know is that every moment we waste, we're in danger of major catastrophic events occurring. And the less scientifically capable we are when that happens, the less likely we are to survive. And if we're battling stupid crap like this, it's just going to slow us down. And so these ideas, like crazy ideas like that, may actually put humanity at risk of extinction. It may seem like a little much, but I think it's true. Brandy says, maybe now, just a thought here, but maybe the people who believe the Earth is flat are those stuck in a permanent acid trip. No offense, of course. Maybe. It just amazes me that a person can be taken by that entire idea. But it's happening. And a lot of those people have kids, and it's another thing that kind of makes me angry, is the intellectual development of children is being sabotaged by people teaching them this ridiculous crap. Sorry to Bigfoot and on, but that's what I think about it, and I think it's wrong. I think it's unethical. I mean, there's just no mincing words on this. You teach a child to believe the Earth is flat, you have done something very wrong, in my estimation. OGL Monster says the hotels get upset when you get a campfire going. I bet you learned that from experience. Trying to follow conversation here. I know it's wrong. Lee 3PO, bunch of nuts. Papa C. Craig, Papa Craig C. Entertaining Brandy's theory there. This chat does not like to stay steady, does it? Hello, Big Rob. My tire is round till it goes flat. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure what round or flat is anymore. Michael Haywood says if you leave the hotel door open, it's almost camping. Well, you could get some wild city life could wander in, that's for sure. I don't recommend leaving your hotel door open, though. Daily Dan says people who think the world is flat have extremely low IQs. Man, I hate to. Perhaps I hate to take it to that level, but I mean, how in the hell did they get convinced of this insanity? It just amazes me. But that tree thing, I think, is kind of going hand in hand with the flat Earth thing. You know, they are taking a lot of things literally from some ancient text, and you know they think there was giants involved, and they think the world is flat, and yeah. Daisy Duke saying maybe smoking some real grass, some good grass. Squatching Cowboy might be hanging out in Old Bear's travel trailer. No, we don't. We don't, Brandy. We don't have to grow every single thing. I think it would be bad if we did. It's just that sometimes when an idea is so ridiculous, it needs to be hunted down and destroyed. And that's scary, because sometimes you get a majority that believes something that is not correct, or it's just right for them or whatever, and then they are going and hunting down and destroying people that think differently from it. So it's a slippery slope, but I don't know. I go back and forth on this. Humanity is built to be in conflict. It was conflict, war, struggle that made us strong and intelligent. And nowadays, hearing that average IQs are going down, well, it's because we made life too easy. No one's really struggling. You know, you want to see starving people, go look, you know, in those countries where the ribs are actually showing. Here, our poor are, a lot of them, extremely overweight. They aren't starving. So we're not struggling, and I think we need to struggle to some extent to stay strong, to get better, to think, engage our minds, overcome challenges. Without these things, you know, is life meaningful at all? So I think it's good that we have disagreements and have debate. Um, but as you know, that one of my complaints about some people in the cryptid community, the unexplained community, is that they don't want to hear the debunkers' viewpoint. They'll shut you down in chat. You know, I welcome the flat earthers to come in here and try. They can try. I think Moog's responding to Brandy. We don't have to agree on every single thing, and Moog's agrees to that point. Mr. Lee 3PO says it's abuse. Yeah, Daisy, he is. It was kind of funny when he brought it up on Moog's show. I believe Moog's was a little taken aback. Tom Paul Cajun says, science is right, I think. The explanation is effed up, in my opinion. Papa C. Craig says, kids are not being taught how to think critically. No, they are not. Daily Dan says, I noticed that since Bigfoot Anon was on Mulg's live stream, I haven't heard him say flat Earth anymore. Oh, he's saying it in some places out there. I think he's figured out that just because someone believes Bigfoot is real doesn't mean they're going to buy into flat Earth. The two subjects have nothing to do with each other. Couldn't be less related. So I think maybe he's keeping it a little under wraps once he realized we're not just going to say, oh, yeah. I mean, Mogs wasn't going to. I some of the other channels might have been, oh, really? Tell us more. That sounds legit. Yeah, Kansas, probably the flattest place on earth. Maybe. I don't know. Michael Haywood says, I always put aluminum foil in the bathtub for all hotel campfires. Sensible. Makes sense. Daisy Dukes, like when the scientists finally said that UFOs were really real. Well, I think what we're really looking at there is it's government. And governments wanting to keep their secrets, and they lied about that for decades. And like I think I said on the last show, um, you know, I'm not buying it. Whatever they say, I mean, I have to question it all. They say they don't know what they are, and I don't believe them. I don't know what they are for sure. You know, I don't know. I don't have any evidence. And I wish they would just stop lying, but you know that they're not going to tell us everything. And I think the only reason they're admitting it now, well, there may be two reasons. One may be they're just trying to distract us, and the other may be that it is just that they're caught in a lie. Too many witnesses, too many cameras, and they can't lie about it anymore. They have to admit people are seeing these things. Yeah, yeah. That poor boy. He walked into it. Does have a lot of knowledge, and he's passionate. He respects that all of our views don't align. Something to squatch about. I saw a rock monster. He ate rocks while something called the nothing was destroying the world. Ah, a never-ending story reference. And I will bet if I look, I will find Brandy saying exactly that. Has the flat Earth theory been debated by anyone credible? Um, I don't know. Define credible. If it's someone who has an actual degree behind them debated in favor of the flat Earth, I'd be checking their credentials. Something's not right there. The evidence is overwhelming. There's just a mountain of evidence, and um, even when you look at just simple observations, a person can step outside and make to see that what they believe is BS. They'll come up with some crazy, convoluted excuse for why what you see isn't actually what's there. Like they're bending over backwards to make their flat Earth stuff seem legit, but it's just a bunch of crap. Good luck. I mean, Bigfoot and on selling his book, you could go buy that, but you will find everything, I'm sure, online that he says in that book as well. So, um, but it would be interesting. I would. I don't want to tackle this. I would. It'd be interesting to see someone get his book and then go through it point by point and show why it's all wrong. Flat Rock Booger says, Lockbeard, not to change the subject, but seriously, do you think maybe Gary Jr. on Squatch Talk may be a plant to make believers look stupid? I don't have any evidence of that. I don't know. I don't have any evidence of that. Is he? Has he been there regularly? Seems like he hasn't been there, regularly like uh, Steve and Leon and all them. Thought he was just a guest. Yeah, sometimes that is a struggle. Have Gary tell his story. Yeah, Mogs, that was crazy. But it was great. Y'all didn't like. You were like, no. This. We don't talk about this on this show. uh, Michael Haywood says David Lee Roth said, "I've been to the edge, and there I stood and looked down." I think he might have meant something else by that, but or he was tripping. Yeah, yeah, it was wild. What's up, Bigfoot? Anon? Here he is. Uh, yeah, that tree thing, that really, I was just amazed. Still a flat Earth every day. No, it's not. Sorry, man, it's not. Respect. Yes, everybody better respect Brandy. Gary Johnson, the guy, the demon Bigfoot commenter. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I know exactly who that is. Bigfoot Non says, I'm driving. Glad I stopped in. Perfect timing. Keep killing it. See you soon. Michael Haywood, not bad for 5 years in the third grade. Who's that directed to? Let's see. Hopefully, I think I've temporarily got my signal better tonight. Last time it was just wretched. Yeah. Oh, Gary John. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Gary Johnson. You had the first letters of his names capitalized. I think that threw me off. That's the only thing I think of. Well, gosh, he just dropped so much nonsense. Distinct possibility old David Lee was tripping. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I mean this stuff was insane. What this guy was saying, and I just can't believe someone would think that that water would be pumping up to the top of these this is crazy. But he's trying to reach out and grab little words out of something that sounds intelligent to him, and then make it twist it to make it you know it, just confirmation bias all the way around. I mean, I'll read the definition here. It's a tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. If your prior beliefs and values were wrong, and you twist every little thing you see to mean something that supports that, then you're not going to end up at the truth. Could be. They could be tripping balls. Demon Bigfoot live in the Devil's Tower. I'm sure Gary Johnson would say that. I mean, it's one of those claims, though. It's one of those claims that it's just like mind speak, right? Not saying whether it's legit or not, but I will say is that someone could come out with a Bigfoot story that's a complete fabrication, and it involves mind speak, and no one's going to be able. You know that no one can get evidence of the mind speak. That's something that's only what you perceived in your head, and they have only to believe the storyteller as, as confirmation of that. There's no way. How do you prove mind speak? You can't. So I can ask such a person for evidence of mind speak all day long, and they'll be like, "Well, how am I supposed to? It was in my head." Well, you sure you're not schizophrenic? you know, I'm not discrediting entirely that people have senses beyond what I mean, when I've been in the woods and I've sensed something, was there. Something was looking at me. Something was watching me out of the ordinary. So something I wasn't used to, and when it's been really bad, I just leave, because I'm not interested in confronting Bigfoot. I don't search for Bigfoot. As much as I've been in the woods, I'm usually, I'm collecting plants, I'm collecting animals, I'm collecting rocks or something, or panning gold or a bunch of other things, anything but looking for Bigfoot. I mean, what am I going to do when I find him? Throw a net over him? And with all the people look for him, nobody ever really finds him, I mean, some claim they have, but I mean, still waiting on that evidence, that hard evidence. But I say I felt like something was watching me, but maybe it was all in my head. I don't even know for sure. I mean, I have to admit that I don't know if I was just, my mind was playing tricks on me. Maybe I was just, I don't know. So I can't say for certain that I sensed something in the woods. I felt certain, but I can't say that. I don't have any evidence of that. What are my beliefs and values? Well, it depends on, I mean, what do you want to, and what part do you want to know? I mean, that's we could analyze that for forever. And I guarantee some people will be, like earlier I was talking about how I think that we're supposed to engage in conflict and war. It keeps our species strong and intelligent, and I believe that it is ethical to pursue that. And a lot of people are just really anti-war. That would rub them the wrong way, right? They're like, we should be anti-war and we should have world peace and everybody hold their hands and sing Kumbaya. That won't work. If you achieve that, it'll last one day and people will start fighting over someone wasn't singing Kumbaya correctly. It won't work. Our species is not meant to exist in total peace. So, intellectually speaking, how do we go forward with that idea? Do we manage our war? We still have it, and we just manage to say, look, we're just gonna. Did you ever? I wish Curious Cryptid was up in here, because he's gonna know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. The science fiction a lot of times gives us a little inkling, a little idea of stuff that may apply to reality, right? Captain Kirk had a flip phone. You know what I mean? We're beyond flip phones now for the most part. But anyway, there was a TV show called Babylon 5, and there was a species on there who every so often they would count how many of them there were, and then they would create green and purple sashes. You know, same number, half and half. And then everyone reaches in the barrel and draws either green or purple. And you divide the entire population into either green or purple. And then green and purple fight until all of one side is completely dead. And this is an advanced spacefaring species in Babylon 5 universe. And that's what they do. And what if it's because they figured out that's, you know, they eventually grow out of their resources. There's too many of them, and they're becoming weak because, you know, they need to kill off the weak and the stupid. So I mean, yeah, Mr. Lee, we could go on and on. I mean, you know, one of my primary values, I guess, is wisdom, intellectual thought. You know, stop addressing things based on feelings, and you know, we got this brain, we need to use it. Brandy says, I try with Gary, I ask him serious questions. I don't think he takes me seriously. I don't think anyone takes him seriously. Daisy Duke says, I believe the Bible, but I ain't going to hell for having some grass or fucking a few people, just my opinion. I'm not sure for having some grass. I didn't know that was a hell-worthy trespass. You can't smoke weed? You know, well, I guess a lot of people, I guess, believe that it's wrong to do that. I don't care. I never plan to, but I think that's people's business. This question Cowboy says, I don't know what Lockbeard's beliefs are, but I believe I'll have another beer. And I believe you have a right to do that. Michael Haywood says all tree roots have all trees have roots. Send a shovel crew to expose the Devil Tower's tree roots. I think that the people who believe it's a tree should be the ones to go dig those roots up. We'll talk to them in the year 2600 maybe when they get down there. They're going to be digging through basalt, through some pretty hard rock. Porphyritic faunolite is not soft material. Mr. Lee, you can have a beer yourself, you know. No one's going to stop you. Pop Craig, me too, cowboy. I drank up my fair share over 30 years ago. Looking for hogs? I don't know. When I was really small, I saw something strange, but I'm not prepared to say what it was. It was in a pasture. I was kind of walking along the fence line when I saw it. What this thing was. It was not walking on two legs, so. But it was not a horse. It was not a cow. Like I said, I was always out out in the woods, and very familiar with many types of animals, and certainly familiar with cows and horses. And I was, this absolutely was not a cow or a horse, and there's just nothing else that should be out there that's that freaking big. Um, Even if there were black bears in the area, the black bear, it was way bigger than a black bear. Um, and it was just shaped strange, and it was moving strange. I don't know what it was. It was big, it was hairy, it seemed to be walking on all fours. I don't remember the head. It's really faded memory. It was a long, long time ago. Um, I'll venture a possible guess what I think it may have been, but I am not claiming that's what this is. I don't know what this was, but I think what may have happened was I was visiting this particular farm, and the people that live there normally, sun goes down, they go in. Nobody's running around outside. But me, the way I am, I want to go run around. At night, it was at night. And I was grabbing toads under the floodlights, and you know, um, wasn't chasing snakes. I typically chase snakes at night, but toads I would. I'd collect any kind of reptiles and amphibians. Anyway, I came out of the house because it's a family gathering, whatever. I'm more interested in animals, so I went outside. It was nighttime, and I think that it's possible that it was a Sasquatch that had come up to the barn, maybe to steal some grain or something, some feed. And I came out unexpectedly, and it tried to act like it was a farm animal and walked away on all fours. I don't know that's what it was, but it was just something way out of the ordinary. It had long, dark hair. I don't remember the head, though. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe it had its head turned away from me like that, and I was kind of back this way from it. I don't know. So I don't have a great sighting, and in the few times in the woods where I felt like something was watching me, but I don't know what that is either. I can't say conclusively that something was watching me, and even if I could say something was watching me, I can't say conclusively what was watching me. So I don't know. Tackle him, Lockbeard. Oh, I don't want to tackle anybody. It sounds like work. Cowboy. Flat Rock Booker says, Cowboy, I'm allowed 5 people on my slot. So if you know someone who needs a spot, talk about the Squatch out. Wrestling. I think Bigfoot Anon is next to you. Uh-oh, y'all are going to... Don't talk about flat Earth around the campfire. We may not prank anyone, Cowboy. Someone may try and hoax it. Yeah, I mean, if it's public knowledge, someone may. But look at it this way. It hones your skills, right? Hones your skills of determining whether something's legit or a hoax or a misidentification or something. Michael Haywood says people can have different beliefs and still be the best of friends. Yeah. Bigfoot there are more Bigfoot than human being on Earth. I would ask how we know that. We haven't got one body on the slab, so, and normally, when biologists survey a species to determine its population levels, it's a pretty intricate process. You can't, and even when they do it the right way, it can be way off. So I doubt that there are. more of them than us, but I don't discount the possibility that there could be way more than we possibly can imagine. A lot of people are debating, well, how many Bigfoot can be supported on this plot of land? Well, some have tried to say that it couldn't possibly support more than a few thousand or some very small number, and I would challenge that. I think the land can support a lot more animals than some say. Um, just take a look at the wild hogs. You know, um, there's a lot of meat running around out there, and it lived off that land. And that's the same land that Sasquatch was living on, supposedly, long before. And, it had access to a lot of the same resources them hogs have access to. And, um, so when they try to say this land cannot support that many of certain species, I think they may be off in some cases, But I wish we had evidence for how many there were, but we don't even have evidence. We have some evidence apparently that they're real, but we don't until we have a body. I don't think. I mean, we're not. I don't think we're to the place where we can say they're definitely real. What if Meldrum is part of the hoax? I don't know. Maybe he's someone there to perpetuate misinformation. He's saying, "Oh, these footprints are real," and having the knowledge he has, he could uh, uh, certainly be one of the best people to fabricate a hoax footprint. And if he's the one authenticating the footprints, I'm not saying that this is true. I'm just saying I can't be 100% about him. So I wish we knew how many there were, but I just don't think anyone knows that at this point, except maybe the government. Thought Rock Booger says, being a smoker, I can't howl that loud anymore. And too fat to wear a suit. They put it on. Devil's Tower is either a tree or a giant's foot. Mud Fossil University says it's just a foot. Imagine how big the tree would be. Well, neither one is true. Bigfoot and non. Mud Fossil University specialize in massive confirmation bias. That Devil's Tower is made of porphyritic phonolite, a type of igneous rock. It has the same, if you go down there and look at it yourself, it forms the same column structures that you see at the Giant's Causeway. It is not a petrified animal or plant at all. It is completely, there is no evidence to support that. And if Mud Fossil University is saying that, they are lying. They're lying. I'm sorry. Mud Fossil University is lying. Because I guarantee you, they know damn good and well that's not what that is. But they are, they want to perpetuate this idea, supports what they wanted to support. So, you can believe it if you want, man, but get a real geologist and go to Devil's Tower, I would suggest, and see for yourself and learn for yourself. I'm not, I mean, I told everyone earlier, I only minored in geology. I'm not a geologist, but I would defer. I say everyone who believes Mud Fossil University should go talk to a real geologist and listen to an actual professional before they go listening to those bunch of liars. They're liars. I can't. I'm not sugarcoating that. Mud Fossil University liars. It just Squashing Cowboy says, I consider Connor a friend even though I don't have the same beliefs. Papa Craig, LOL Flat Rock. Burning bush in the Bible, God created it. Talk about weed, I think, maybe. Michael Haywood, just like the people who, I, I just like the people more who believe in what I do. Yeah, I mean, see, that's where people want to form tribes. It's a natural thing. It's not good or bad. We see this in every aspect of every culture. People will form groups, and they'll find some reason. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something cultural, something religious. It could be we all like the color blue. They'll form a group. It's exactly why we see these gangs form in the inner cities. They're not. They're just behaving like human beings. Human beings get together and form groups to stand together and protect each other, mutual benefit, protect resources and territory. And it's just natural. So, and naturally, you're going to want to group up with people that have something in common with you. A lot of times it's color of skin, obviously, but it can be religion, or a certain cultural ideal. And so it's just a natural thing. No one should begrudge you that. Hang out with people who have a similar interest to you. It's a good thing. Smoking now. Daisy saw Bigfoot anon. Flat Rock Booger says, yeah, Cowboy Connor is my brother and friend. Mogul Monster. I call bullshit. 11 years at a college and you never smoked weed? Yeah. Yeah. It was something that never interested me. I have to be careful how I word this. I might have had something to do with the substance, but it wasn't using it for a short period. For a short period. It was either that or stripping. You know how it is. Yeah. Yeah, man, don't trust them mud fossils. They twist things to mean what it's all confirmation bias, and they just you know out of place artifacts, and look, if that thing can't possibly be where it is based on what we know, then yeah, we need more information to figure out why it's there, or maybe it didn't come to be there under the circumstances that they are assuming they did. If you assume, would they find like a pot in some ancient coal bed or something, and they try to say it was in the coal? Well, can you prove conclusively that that person found that in the coal? And I think I saw one case. There was one case where it was a hammer, and it was in this rock, and there's like they were saying, well, this rock is aged this old, and this hammer couldn't possibly existed. That was way before humans. Well, that could have been some rock that became old rock pieces that became cemented together later. So it can throw. But I can't remember the exact circumstances of the hammer, though. But we need more information on a lot of those kind of things because we don't have enough. But and then of course in some cases it may be the case we're assuming that humans were the only intelligent species to ever be here that would have made that object. But I think in most cases it was just unusual circumstances that it came to be there. Let's see. Am I not keeping up with the chat at all? I don't think I am. I better speed this up. Papa Craig, Lockbeard. According to some people's interpretation of the Bible, you will go to hell for smoking the devil weed. Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess that won't go on my list of reasons I'm going there. Still not canceling my reservations, though. Mr. Lee's mentioning the keto. Daisy Dukes. Way a lot of grass here in Gatlinburg. Had to go chill and try to listen to Lockbeard's experience. Rather have a joint. Hobbs, welcome Hobbs. Saying hello to Bigfoot and on. Brandy says, I haven't smoked weed in years. Used to smoke and play Star Wars Battlefronts in my teenage years. If I ignore them, Mr. Lee, that's right, I feel better. Flat Rock Booger. Speaking of Steve Curious Crippet, I sent him one of my video for unbiased opinion, good or bad. Probably a good idea. He's a real logical guy. I think a few people might call bullshit on that, Mogs. Yeah, he'll give you a good opinion of it. I mean, if I see any of these videos or pictures, they if it's not clear, it's not, it's not conclusive. It's not, you can't say what it is. It's too easy to see faces in the woods. It just is, or shapes. The human mind is always trying to find those, and it's better to make a mistake about finding the face of an enemy hiding in the bushes than it is to miss it. So I think that's what's going on. I think the mind is just a little overzealous about finding faces, and that was good for survival, Flat Rocky showed a tiny zoomed in clip the other night. He said he was having trouble debunking. I wonder if it was your footage. He wouldn't say. You should send it to Zasky. He'll confirm it within 5 seconds. He'll probably see more in it than you will. Address it to Pareidolia, capital of the world. Let's see. Tom Paul Cajun says Curious Cryptid is one of the critical thinkers, in my opinion. Yeah, they use the phrase a lot over there at Squatch Talk, and I think that they are one of the more logical end of the Bigfoot community. You wonder if he can count, but you can only count to two. One, too many. Yeah. Mr. Lee, are there any encounter stories you have heard that you consider credible? Um, I can't confirm any of them to be credible. Maybe the Patterson Gimlin encounter, because there's some film and no one's been able to debunk that film. Finding a real hard time believing that someone could have made that as a costume and fake that, and but even that I can't say 100%. I just can't. For all I know, they got a really big, really big person and did put him in a costume and just managed to do it well enough. I don't know. I mean, but back then, you had, you seen how bad their movie effects were back then. They couldn't make a realistic looking. A lot of people bring up Planet of the Apes. They just, so that's only one really, because I can't confirm any of them. There's no evidence. They're just stories. And so, a few of them are probably real, but I don't know that for sure. And I don't know how many people are lying or how many people it was mistaken identity, or, I don't know. I hope some of these guys don't take offense. I mean, it seems like some people get a little upset because you're challenging their word. And look, man, it's an extraordinary claim. It requires extraordinary evidence, and if people just jumped on to the bandwagon every time someone told a crazy story, we would all end up believing that Devil's Tower is a tree. So PG encounter would be the only one that I would, at this point, come close to saying I'm pretty certain is real. Dogman, huh? There ain't no evidence for that. I mean, some people people try to say they had some prints, but look, um, you don't know. You don't know what that was. I mean, we don't know. Most look. So many people today are not used to seeing, wolves. It's just something most people haven't actually seen one in person. It's not the same as looking at it on film. When you see that creature in the wild in person, um, I have a feeling that there would be a few people who would see that as some kind of monster. They they so I think it's probably a mistaken identity in a lot of cases, and that's it. I mean, you got these people talking about there's government program where they're making chimeras and they're mixing the DNA of human with animal, and I mean, I don't put it past the government to do crazy stuff like that, but there's there's no evidence that I've seen that's conclusive for Dogman either. So there's a lot more for Bigfoot, assuming all the footprint evidence is true, and assuming that at least some of the video is true. None of it, is fake. I mean, I've seen some videos that look pretty legit. It's like, how would someone fake that? But Dogman is way behind Bigfoot on the evidence. Most critical thinkers have never seen a booger. Yeah. And I mean, if your point is that when they see it, the whole deal, like some people are saying, they're a knower because they saw with their own two eyes. Yeah, I mean, they might become a knower if they see. But I mean, you got to. Those are the people though you want to. If you got enough evidence to prove it to them, you've probably proved the animal exists, and everybody's going to know about it. Good show, Lockbeard. I've got to go. Met some guys here, and I'm going to go have drinks and chill out. Good night, everybody. Good night, Daisy Dukes. What I seen was real. Yeah, maybe. Might be real. Might have been a dream. I mean, what if it's a memory? And it's, I mean, in some cases, maybe some people are seeing. Actually, I was watching Squash Talk last night, and I was really glad to hear the word epigenetics spoken. Most people never heard of that, and that's basically, you learn something, or you have encountered some kind of environmental stressor. Your body creates molecules that can convey information pertaining to that to your child, information that's not in your nuclear DNA. It's not passed down from your grandparent. It's something that you learned that your body has the ability to pass on to your offspring. There was an experiment with rodents where they conditioned these mice to be fearful of the smell of, I think it was cherry blossoms, and then they bred those mice. They would become fearful. They would exhibit fear whenever they'd smell cherry blossoms. This was a conditioned response. It was something they didn't have that fear when they were born. They were conditioned to it. They bred these mice, and then took the offspring from them, and I believe they made a second generation after that, another generation after that. So the grandchildren of these mice, and then they exposed those grandchildren to the smell of cherry blossoms, and they exhibited the fear response. And that's epigenetics. Who's to say that memories can't occasionally pop up from many generations back? Epigenetic memories passed down might be the explanation for some people's belief that they were reincarnated, that they're having memories from an ancestor of themselves. And if you want to get really weird, go down the rabbit. Look at the experiments on water memory. And you said that most people are going to think, "Oh, this is complete BS." They've done some interesting experiments, and so basically, it's almost as if the water molecule behaves as a hard drive, like your computer can hold information. And the way it's explained to me is that the information is actually stored in the bond between the atoms in the molecule. Maybe in the future we can talk a little bit more about the significance of the water molecule, what it actually is, what it actually does. It's way more than just something wet. There's some weird stuff going on with water, but it's almost like water is almost like the slime in Ghostbusters 2. Remember when they were imprinting on the slime, saying loving things to it or saying mean things to it, and the slime would react? This sounds crazy, I know, but I can't remember the name of the scientist that was mainly involved with this. But they've shown that the water has some kind of reaction to these external responses. So the reason why I kind of went down that road is because it's entirely possible that if you somehow intake enough water from another person, and how it got to you, maybe you were drinking out of the lake where they dumped the processed sewer water that person peed into, right? That happens every day. Hey, you're all drinking some piss at some point. The lake I used to live up here, I even took samples out of a way out of compliance wastewater treatment plant that was dumping into a creek to dump into the lake where they pulled our drinking water from. That's how you could get exposed to some water molecules that contain some information, some memory that you probably you may not want, along with a lot of other crap. But so there's potential for ideas and just little half memories to get into you in these different ways that most people aren't thinking about, or maybe even never heard about. And that water issue is another way that people might they might have memories from someone else and think that they've been reincarnated. It's strange. It's really strange. And so because it behaves like a hard drive, it can be wiped just like a hard drive with a magnet. Look, I know this sounds weird. I know it does. I'm sure everybody's having a hard time. If you pass the water by a magnet in a simple little device like this, just wrap it around too. Mine's a little elaborate, but it will wipe any information out of the water that's stored that you don't want. You just never know. It's just a good precaution to take. But for you to take that seriously, you're going to have to go look at some of the science on this. It is high strangeness, to be sure. And this is what I'm talking about. There's some really weird stuff going on out there that are being ignored for stuff like this stupid tree, or Devil's Tower being a tree, or the flat Earth thing is because they don't believe the moon's really there. They think it's something else. But if you look at some of the things that have to do with the moon, there's something weird going on. Look at the Apollo 13. I think they did it in different missions, but seismic experiments, and there was some like sonar or radar scans they did, and there was some sampling with high titanium levels in it, and the cratering is really interesting. The craters, because a crater should be a certain width, for a certain depth. Those craters are extremely shallow for their width, seeming to indicate that there's an extremely tough surface underneath there. Underneath all the rocks and dirt, there's an extremely tough surface. So the flat Earth people are missing out on a real, with evidence, strange situation going on there. Hello, Robin. Robin Lee Griffiths here. Hello, beloveds. I've been listening along. Daily Dan says the mud fossil guy is a total goof. I bought into his crap for about an hour one day. Hey, it's good to watch a little fantasy every so often. That's what I'm saying, Mr. Lee. I'll try to be nice about some things, but I can't with the mud fossil people. That they're just, oh my gosh, crazy. Where can we find a real geologist? Most universities. Daily Dan, oh come on! If everyone believes the same thing, these strains will be born. We need debate to mentally challenge us. Yeah. Michael Haywood says, much respect to Bigfoot Anon. Built in our instinct to form tribes, yes it is. Looking for a family, Motel Monster says. Now we're forming tribes on the internet. We should fight it, but I doubt we'll win that one. Papa C. Craig. Yeah, and the cryptid community, the Bigfoot community, paranormal, aliens, the whole thing. There's division in all these groups, and most of the time people talk about that as a negative thing. I think it's a positive thing. We need to have this battle, and if we solve it, we'll just find another reason to have a battle. We need to do it. And hopefully enough people, when they see the conclusion, will see why one side lost to the other. Now the more reasonable side might fail, because we're facing an economic threat to an extent. People who are more interested in making money than anything else. We're trying out the name drop here, but there's people, they're selling, books and stuff, and their only interest is perpetuating their sales. They don't care about the truth. So And when you're faced with an economic threat like that, they got the money to back it up. I mean, we're going to have a hard time fighting against that. Respect. Let's see. Got to pay the bills, Moog said. Yeah, I mean, and like I said in the first one I did, I don't begrudge people selling a book. I just, if they're just lying, if they're making a Bigfoot book, but they don't actually have interest in the subject or advancing our knowledge. Some of them, I think, are just they're passing off stories that they know are lies, and yeah, I mean, I don't like that kind of stuff. Hobbs says, "You seem like a decent guy. Sorry we got off to the wrong start on Gypsy Road Channel. It's all right, Hobbs." Danny Stratton had to change phones. Squatch and Cowboy, I never smoked stuff. Always wanted to be different than all the rest. Botanical income supplement. Mm-hmm. This chat is spastic. Let me see here. I think I'm way behind you guys. Should own a tavern down the street. Have paid for it in one pinch at a time. They found you, Lockbeard. Yeah. Won't drink with the kids. Never with my kids. So, Squatch and Cowboy, now they got the dogs after Lockbeard. Did you hear some dogs? Or was there siren in the background? I wasn't even paying attention if there was. Can't go back there. Nope. A crazy dog heard barking in the stream. Lost your mind looking for the dog. For 50 years, I didn't believe people who said they really saw Bigfoot, not even my wife. Now I'm on the other side of that. Crud. Papa's correct. Well, yeah. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Let's see. Always thought the 3 R's in school were riding, roping, and rodeo. Squatch and Cowboy. Oh yeah, monster. They belly rub the roof. A wolf or two. Brandy. Goat man lives under bridges like the 3 billy goats gruff. Yeah. It's a fragment of our memory stuck in the back of many people's heads. Could play tricks on them. Strippers from Bada Bing. Mr. Lee 3PO, Lockbeard, what are your beliefs in witchcraft and supernatural forces? I need more evidence. Um, there's certain things about how the universe functions that would seem to indicate that there may be something going on there. Um, Certain possibilities are there. Um, Perfectly scientifically explainable, but would appear magical to most people. But I need to see more evidence for. I mean, you know how many times we've seen people talking about which is able to manipulate reality, but when you ask them to demonstrate this, they never do. And then there's some reason for it. Well, this, no, come on. If it's real, show it. So I don't know. Um, if you're talking about supernatural forces, though, they're again, it's a little much to talk about because I don't, buy, mainstream science's interpretations of their observations of certain things, quantum physics and stuff like that. It doesn't work, and so I'm on a different. I'm operating with a different, some different type of science here. That does seem to have room in it for uh, entities, life forms existing that would appear to us spiritual, um, supernatural, uh, but are perfectly real part of reality, and existing at other frequencies that we don't have the tools to interact with. It's a solid object. You think of a solid object as is hard light, and you start thinking along those lines. Okay, well, my sense of touch can actually physically interact with that kind of light, but light coming from the sun, you can't physically really touch it. You can feel some effects from it. You can see it. So you start thinking there's all these different frequencies, and there's some that are beyond our range. You start talking about uh, infrared and stuff like that. Things that aren't really within our normal perceptual range. We don't have the tools to see things, but there's things that are there, and something else might have the tools to physically interact with something like sunlight in a way that we can't. It's just speculation on that, but it seems like there that might be a possibility. But I still need to see more evidence for things. Um, let's see. Mogs, I will have to show the wolves on a future show. You got some wolves? Robin Lee Griffith says, careful on the answers you receive. Not all of them weigh correctly. Mr. Lee wants to know everything. Me too. Hey, Chad. Welcome. He just got home from work, but he's been listening the whole time. Great conversation. Squatching Cowboy says, I think Mr. Lee and Lockbeard should have a show, kind of like Moggs and Iron Dogger. Moggs has been, well, different people have been trying to rope Mr. Lee into getting on somebody's show, but he don't. I don't think he does cameras. I think he believes they will steal his soul. Robin Lee's talking about DNA, mRNA, soul groups. Yeah. Papa C. Mogs had a good friend who had a pet wolf, but these things we have in our mountains now are not nice. Chad says, Mr. Lee, witchcraft is real, and you know it. Randy says, water has memory. Elsa said so. How do you think Olaf came back to life? It's funny how you could almost give some credibility to that story with this new science about water having memory. It's crazy. Remy Lacosta, welcome, says hello, Lockbeard, and all interesting topics you're having. Papa Craig says, witchcraft is real, supernatural is real. Robin says, water is a cleanser. Yep, among many other things. Papa Craig says, we got our water from 4,000 foot artesian wells. Could they have urine in them too? Without knowing the origin of that water supply, it's hard to say. If it's been down there for 100,000 years, it would have to come from something that was urinating in that water or on that land where the water soaked in at that time, I would imagine. Because some of those wells, that it's just pure as can be. It's been down there for many thousands of years. But in other cases, it hasn't been down there that long, and it could be contaminated from modern humans. Mogion, monster, structured water. Yeah, I mean, basically, a lot of those devices, like they try to say vortexes, and don't. No, you just need a strong magnet, neodymium magnet. That's all you need, and if it's probably being exceptionally protective of your water supply, but it may help. I can't say I know any different, but the science supports that there's something going on with the water, and yeah. Robin Lee Griffith, the Druid, Shaman, Wiccan women say, sorry you have that one wrong, but then again, that's my ism. I-ism. Papa Craig, oh yeah, it has iron in it and tastes like piss. It probably comes from chemtrails. I mean, really forget my spirituality and all likelihood that comes from this BS they pour all over my head. Yeah, I don't know about the chemtrails. I haven't really felt like I've seen conclusive proof of that. Chad says, Papa C, ancient urine. Yeah, it could be very old urine. The Temple of Golden Urine, Brandy says. Sure. Romeo says, Brandy, I was able to catch the first live show. I watched the replays a few hours ago. Yeah, Romeo, I'm sorry about that. Um, uh, I've been trying to, because they have a way for me to edit out a bunch of the, like there's parts of it that are just garbled up and then some blank space. And I tried, but it didn't work. I don't know what the deal is. And YouTube doesn't seem to want to talk. So whatever. I'll try again later, but there's just too much with the internet went out and there was periods where you couldn't hear anything. I don't know. Hopefully this turned out better tonight. Goose is squawking. Hello, Danny. He says it's okay. The flat Earth people think the moon is some kind of hologram anyway. Yeah, or plasma or something. Yeah, they say. Yeah, I don't know. Man, guys, there's a way more interesting mystery going on there. If that moon is what some of, we don't have a lot of evidence, but what, and of course they don't believe NASA. They think NASA is just lying to them. But so when I say we have evidence with the seismic data, well, if they're right and NASA's lying to us, then that's not really evidence, is it? But assuming they aren't lying to us about that, it appears that the moon may be a hollow, artificially created structure. And that is way more interesting than a ball plasma or a hologram or whatever other stuff they believe in. Brandy says to Romeo, glad you made it. I told Lockbeard this gives those who don't know him the chance to understand he's not purposely being a dick most times. Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, most times. Sure. Let's see. Chad says Lee, spot on as usual. Chad, Lockbeard had to ask, are you in the van down by the river? Chad, I am in a van. I live the van life. I refuse to live in a house, at least at this point in my life. You guys are sitting ducks in a little box, which, I mean, technically it's a box, but I, at a moment's notice, can turn the ignition and bug the fuck out. And I can't see the river from here. Rivers, it's about a half mile that way. Arkansas River. Through, woods and some pasture, lots of woods. Real squatchy woods. Randy says most times, yeah. Mogown Monster comment goes back to you stripping for a living. Yep. No, they're actually not looking for me. It's funny, I've had some run-ins in the past. Nothing major. I didn't actually do really anything wrong, but when they get in their mind that they're going to take you down, I think both of the major cases I ran into, one of them was with the feds, had to do with opinions I was expressing on the internet. So be careful what you say. They will try. They will come. You hit the wrong nerve, they will come for you. I managed to slip out relatively unscathed with the feds because they didn't have anything. They were just trying to be dicks. Michael Haywood, damn it, man, the old pole dance. Mr. Lee, this is so far king cool, man. Thank you. Squatch Cowboy, you see me pole dancing, mind your own damn business. Squatching costs a lot. Yes. Yes. And that's why I don't really like, there's no point. Why would I don't even, why would I go chasing around the woods looking for something that's going to be 10 steps ahead of me and I don't even have, like I have a game cam, but it broke. I put it out there a few weeks ago and it just stopped working. It was working up here by the van, but when I went down there by the woods, on the other side of that pasture there, and set it up, it stopped working. So, what am I going to do? I don't got any equipment. Squatching Cowboy takes his hat off for one thing and one thing only, to take a shower. I'm way behind on the chat, I think. Some people slipping out. It's all natural. And that is super. First time on this channel. Mr. Mark Dodman. It's brand new. So you're not late. Oh yeah, Monster says, I think you will be pleasantly surprised, Mark. Been guided to a crook one yet, Moggs. It was Joe who put me on to yours. Lockbeard's cool, Mark. Thank you, Squatching Cowboy. Yeah, Moggs, I was not prepared for the chat to move so fast. Crazy. I think this is your fault. You told everybody about the show. That's okay, though. It's a good thing. Michael Haywood, kittens make for single servings, Mark. Got some catfishing talks going on. Mo, Mr. Lee. Remy will ask Lockbeard, I would like to know your hypothesis on Bigfoot and what got you interested in the subject. I don't know. I was always interested in anything in nature, any kind of animal, plant, rock, mushroom, from a young age, and and monsters and sci-fi and Bigfoot, Loch Ness, all that, anything, it all interested me. And so I don't know what started my interest in it. I just was. My hypothesis on Bigfoot, I would say that using the word hypothesis loosely, if I was to call it a hypothesis, I mean, I don't know if I have enough to go on to say anything more than it's a guess. But my guess is, looking at if the footprints are legit and the films are legit and looking at the PG film and what I see there and adding on to that this people have managed to stay ahead of us for this long, meaning they've got to be very intelligent, possibly more intelligent than us. They've got to be. My guess, I'm just gonna say it's my guess, is that they are a race of humans. They are the same species as us, just another race. I've said it a number of times in people's chats before. If it's hard to imagine that, because you imagine Bigfoot and it's this huge thing, you go look at a Saint Bernard next to a pug dog. You know that Saint Bernard outweighs that pug dog by many times. It's huge, and it could have that thing for a snack and ask for more. But they're the same species, and that's how much difference you can have within a species, especially when you got this population group that has been very xenophobic about interaction with us for thousands of years. Apparently, um, that would be conducive to developing some pretty significant differences between our races. I think they're Homo sapiens, but they're just a big, hairier race of humans. But we need more information. We need more data. Well, thanks for dropping by, Mark. Thanks. Um, Squashing Cowboy, words of wisdom. Never drink water with a dead cow upstream from you. Michael Haywood, after seeing Margaret Hamilton on The Wizard of Oz, I swore off witches. I had to sit through a movie without her every day for a year because the witch was so scary. Papa Craig. Swore off flying monkeys, Squatching Cowboy. You're damn right, Mr. Lee 3PO. Future ruler of Earth. Y'all just ain't figured it out yet. Oh man, you're eating hot wings too close to your computer. Articulate. Am I? Uh, you're behind a bit, but you're also new to this, so no worries. I think I'm catching up. I'm just skipping a lot here. Thanks, Michael. Well, it probably depends on who you're asking. Apparently I'm that much of an asshole. Um, Asking too many questions, maybe. Some say I'm stirring up trouble. Um, I, but Mr. Lee, I mean, you were kind of involved in one situation, as you recall, and man, I don't want to get into it. It's over. It's done, But when someone's coming at me, I instinctually want to turn around and go back at them, And when some of these people got a wrench and they get, they get a little crazy with that wrench when it's not justified, and that wasn't justified. I didn't feel in that circumstance with me and you. We had just a little vague interaction about something that happened on the other channel, and she basically lost her shit. So I'm gonna drop it. Think the same way about Bigfoot, that they may be another race of humans. Yeah, Remiel. I think it's a pretty good guess. Barb says, "Welcome, Barb. Mr. Lee. I've been the delight of being blocked, and it proves to me that some who think they know are actually full of shit." You just summed up my one of the core reasons I'm on camera right now. Um, Chad, I think I got it earlier. Yeah, I am. I do. I'm a full time van resident. I was a full time RV resident for years, and I got to where I wouldn't even go back to my RV a lot of nights because I'd be somewhere else and I'd just sleep in. I slept in my Firebird a lot, and I slept in my Toyota pickup a lot, and my Jeep Grand. People are like, "How do you sleep in this?" I'm like, "Look, once I fall asleep, I don't care where I'm at. I mean, I'm unconscious." Brandy says, "I am just a regular Joe with a regular job. I'm your average white suburbanite slob. I like football and porno and books about war. I got an average house with a nice hardwood floor." And apparently, you're a poet. Okay, I think it's been over 2 hours. Um, Thank you all for dropping by. I don't think we found any actual answers, have we? Took the tree people to task. Um, hopefully, hopefully that helps to illustrate, correlate, with some of the stuff going on with the Bigfoot community and the aliens and so on. Um, because there's a lot of it going on. Just confirmation bias all over the place, and people, uh, they have an idea they want to believe in, and they will tend to pick out the data that seems to support what they want to believe in or what they're selling to you. You know, so yeah, sell books, but sell books that are about actually trying to figure out what the truth is. If the story has no evidence, say so. Um, but yeah, I'll take the truth, whatever it is. If Bigfoot is a demon ghost, like Gary Johnson says, if it's hopping through portals and hanging out with aliens on us, so be it. But we need to see the evidence for all that stuff. Um, Mr. Lee, don't you got anything else to do, Mr. Lee? You want to stay here? I mean, I don't care. I'm not doing anything. Papa C. Craig says, "Holy cow, it went that fast. Great show. Thank you." Blue Eyed Northern, great night. Just the beginning. Yeah, I hope so. It gets, it gets hard. It's hard to say a lot of things in chat. Um, it's hard to because some of the ideas are just so convoluted, and there's just so much that you can't just put it. You just can't have some of these conversations in chat. So figured I'd just say it on camera, and you know, hopefully some people wander in at some point and can add to it. Um, if someone's got evidence that's actual evidence, I want to see it. I want to know. I've been out in the woods. I've been up in the mountains all my life since I was, a little kid. My mom couldn't stop me anymore. She let me bring home snakes and everything else. It was great. And learned. You know, um, wasn't like my friends. Who were glued to their video game console. They wouldn't hardly go out in the woods and stuff. And one of them, in particular, he, you're not learn. You might learn how to conquer that game, but you're not learning anything about the natural world or about true socialization with other people and politics um, and you couple that with the fact that they went to a school that specifically did not educate them on certain subjects that they needed an education on it. And he proved it to me on a number of occasions, not meaning to, but asking me questions that a grown ass man should know. Um, I'm not going to say anybody's name. I was asked by a 19-year-old man if he can get a girl pregnant if she blows him. um, Somebody failed somewhere along the line to educate a young boy. It's crazy. Um, Answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Mogion. Thanks, Lockbeard. I'm really glad you decided to do this. You got my support. Seriously. Thank you, Mogs. You got mine. Agree with Mogs, Chad says. Hey, Mogs, he's great, huh? Well, for a guy in a van down by the river, I guess. Best Sunday morning I've had in months. Is it morning for you up there? It's 2 a.m. over there, isn't it? My 2 cents, they sure look like people with a messed up face. Who's that? Papa Craig. High speed chicken feed, Chad. Says Squashing Cowboy. Just woke up and managed to catch Lockbeard show. Man, that's crazy. You getting up at that would have been midnight for you. Are you talking about the story I just told? Yes. They didn't go to public school, and there was no proper male uh, role model in the house. In fact, there were very two very bad male role models in their house, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was being asked that question, and what sucked is, of course, the guy operating on that level, what's going to happen to him? Well, um, yeah, she got pregnant at some point, and then abandoned him and their child. She left, and so at least he's taking care of his kid. So Chad, how much trouble are you in if that's true? All right, Squash Cowboy, thanks for being here. Probably going to try and wrap it up in a little bit here. 9 a.m. for Remiel. Gentleman's hours in Southern Australia, 11:15 a.m. Anybody got any final thoughts? Anybody believe the Devil's Tower is a tree? aside from Bigfoot and on? Or foot or whatever he thinks it is. Oh, thank you very much, Chad. No, Mr. Lee. What do you mean, no? Thanks, Mark. We'll see you next time. It's a giant anthill. Boy, I don't want to be around when the ants come out. It's an ancient volcano neck. Hi, all. I just got from work. I'll have to catch a replay. Thanks, Jen. Michael Haywood says his first wife left him for stuff and saran wrap in her mouth before sex. What? What if we started here? Yeah, Barb, real evidence. Real evidence. Hey, yeah, it's fine to tell stories. You know, you got like what's that Dixie Cryptid over there? He just tells stories. That's what he does, and you know, um, it's just those people that are insisting that you accept their story as fact based on just what they're telling you, and you can tell in a lot of cases it's a belief for them. It's a belief system. Um, I'm sure some of you can think of some of the channels where it's like that. Um, Channels where I've been banned from. Because I want to see some evidence. I can't just accept everybody's story. Yeah, Remiel, that's what we started out talking about in the beginning of the live stream. Is I ran across someone claiming that and trying to sound intelligent by mentioning that some buttes similar to Devil's Tower have waterfalls, and that they have waterfalls because the vascular bundles from the tree that is now dead somehow are still functioning and pumping water to the top of the buttes to create waterfalls. I was just amazed at how crazy that was. Well, all right, y'all. I think I'm going to wrap her up. Thank you for coming by. Everybody have a good night.